Hello, everybody. This is JT Production.
No. Ross is close, ladies and gentlemen. Ross is close. My name is AJ Van Gerp, AJVG23 on Instagram, and let me be the first to tell you, Ross is close.
Okay. Thank you, AJ.
My pleasure.
Anyways, I'm JT Productions. Welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today, as you can probably tell, we're doing the Rice Owls preview and prediction. So let's get started. Last season, Rice went 4-8, 3-5 in Conference USA, with a win to end the season against Louisiana Tech Bulldogs by 4. So, I mean, not a bad. They had close games. They had a 10-point loss to UTEP. They had an overtime loss to both North Texas and Charlotte. They got blown out by Arkansas, Houston, Texas, and Western Kentucky, which, I mean, you had Bailey Zappi, the guy that broke Joe Burrow's season touchdown and yards record, which my associate over here is not very fond of.
Go Tigers.
So anyways, let's go ahead and check out what Rice has to offer. Well, they have a fifth season head coach coming in Mike Bloomgren, which veteran head coaches, they make it good. They make it to where it's going to be easier to win games. You have more experience, so that's good. Right, looking at the roster, you have a quarterback named TJ McMahon. So I wonder if he's related to Vince McMahon.
Ross is close.
There you go. They have a running back, Ari Broussard. He's a redshirt junior, so he should be pretty good. You have Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, at wide receiver. I think he transferred in from USC, if I can recall, maybe. You also have Cedric Patterson and Bradley Rosner at wide receiver, all veterans. Offensive line, you have some veterans. You also have a graduate transfer coming in John Hughes, who's coming in from West Virginia, so that's a good sign there. So your offense looks workable. You have good wide receivers. Your quarterback has a few years under his belt, and you have a good running back by committee. And on defense, your defensive line, you have a senior, sophomore, and junior. So decently, I guess, career veterans, I guess. Linebackers, you have a senior, sophomore, and junior. So, like I said, same thing. In the secondary, you have a graduate, sophomore, and sophomore. So pretty young in the secondary.
I mean, you're sitting here looking at this team, and they are they're pretty young. I mean, you have a few seniors in some key places, but for the most part, a very young team. And I think that, for a normal program, that is going to factor into their success. But I think with Ross, I mean, you're looking at a very young, prominent team that's going to go very deep into the college football playoffs this year.
Okay, that's a thought. You'll get better, buddy. You'll get better. I promise. So
close.
Yeah, okay. So let's get to the schedule. Let's just get to the schedule. Week 1, you're on the road at USC. I don't see right now a way that Rice wins this game. Lincoln Riley's just going to have too much of a prominent offense for them. So I think USC wins this game by a couple of touchdowns, and Rice starts the season 0-1.
I mean, you look at USC, I mean, a very successful team in the past, but you also look at Ross, who in 1954 in the Cotton Bowl Classic came out and stomped the Alabama Crimson Tide 28-6. Ross is close. I think they take this game.
That's a relevant fact, I guess. So yeah, we'll go with that. Now, week 2, they play McNeese State. I mean, it's just going to be an easy win. McNeese State is nothing compared to a Conference USA team. So you start the season with a loss and a win in my book. So,
I mean, you look at McNeese, and they're all-time records, 479, 288. That's a percentage of 622. I think that's going to go to about 619 because Ross is going to come out here and beat him by about 3 touchdowns.
That's fair. Week 3, you host the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. It's going to be a tough game. Honestly, this is going to be an upfield battle for Rice. Louisiana's just going to be a very good team, even though losing a lot of players to Florida and their coach, Billy Napier. I do think Louisiana comes out with the win against Rice, and Rice drops a 1-2.
I mean, you look at the Houston Texans, they're not good. So, what makes you think a football team in college? Oh, Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
You're one ahead.
Let me tell you what Louisiana's Raging Cajuns are not, and that's the Louisiana State Tigers. And Louisiana State has Joe Burrow in the past. Louisiana Raging Cajuns have nobody. I think this is a game, the Raging Cajuns lose.
Okay, fair enough, I guess. Then, like you were saying, go ahead and start this one. I'll let you start.
The Houston Cougars. I mean, if you look at them, the Houston Texans. I mean, they have scandals surrounding their prime position of quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a very disorganized organization. Now, I will say they spend a little too much time having fun. I mean, you look up on YouTube, they have fake uniform reveals. I think if you put that time in the weight room, maybe studying some more film, you improve as a team. But I think this is a game that Rice will win.
So how do you think they're going to win it? By disqualification from Houston?
I think that it turns into the next University of Tennessee Mustard Bowl. Okay. I think they start throwing stuff on the field. And in Houston, I don't know what they have to throw on the field. So they're really
they're going to
have to get the football players out of there fast.
They'll find a Cougar.
Absolutely.
So, going back to reality, Houston's going to win this game. Houston is just a more talented team than Rice. Rice, in the future, could become a better program than Houston, but I think Houston right now is just a better program. Next, they play UAB. UAB is a great Conference USA team. They're one of the best. I think UAB comes to Houston and wins by probably 2 touchdowns.
I mean, you look at this team in 2015 to 2017, didn't even have a football program. I mean, you go on a 2-year hiatus, that's going to affect your recruiting because you're not going to attract recruits that, are going to come in saying, oh, it's okay that my future is not guaranteed at this school I'm dedicating my body to. I think this is a game Rice wins by at least 5 touchdowns.
Okay. Going to your bye week, and reality in my eyes, you are 1-4, but in my buddy's eyes, you are 5-0. So,
and I think in the off week, you go and scrimmage Alabama and you win. So go ahead and put them at 6-0.
Okay, fair enough. Coming out of your bye week, you go on the road to Florida Atlantic. This is going to be a tough game, honestly. Florida Atlantic has a veteran quarterback in N'Kosi Perry. I could see it going both ways, honestly, but I do think with that veteran presence at the quarterback position, Florida Atlantic squeaks out a win against Rice to give them another loss.
Florida Atlantic is a very talented program, and honestly, I think they're going to come out here, and I think they're going to do their thing, and I think they're going to come out and show Rice who they are, and I think Rice is going to say absolutely not. And I think Rice is going to say, hey, we're close. And I think they're going to come back and send it in a double overtime, and Rice is going to win by a field goal.
That's fair. I could see that, actually, for one thing. Then you go back-to-back on the road. Then you go on the road to Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's been kind of going downhill lately. I think you'll be able to get a big win here against the Bulldogs, get a little upset win against them, and get your second win on the year, and now you're 2-5.
I mean, Louisiana Tech, 630 wins, 465 losses, 39 ties. And let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to tie up the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs to a tree, beat them with a bat. This is a Rice Owls win by 50.
Okay. Next up, you have homecoming against Charlotte. You should beat them. They're just a terrible program right now, so I think you win that game pretty easily against the 49ers.
I mean, I went to a school that was recruiting a guy that also attended the same school as me, and he sucks at football, so if the 49ers are recruiting him, they're desperate. This is a game Rice steals.
Fair enough. So now they're at 3 wins. They're 3-5. Then they play the UTEP Miners. I think they win this game too. UTEP is kind of a mediocre team, below average, so I think Rice comes in here, keeps the winning streak going, is at 3-game winning streak.
I mean, the UTEP Miners are not a household name. It wasn't. I mean, I'm pretty old, and I didn't know until about last summer what UTEP stood for, but it's just not a household name, which means they have not made a name for themselves. I think the Rice Owls are next, and I think this is a game they win.
I agree. That's something I can really say in this video. Next up, you go on the road to take on Western Kentucky. Even though Western Kentucky's lost a lot, I think they're still a solid program. I think they stop your winning streak and you get your 6th loss on the year.
See, that would, for a normal team, be acceptable. But if you go quick Google search and you look at their mascot, they have Big Red, which is just an absolute menace to society. I think that they honestly, even if they were able to win, which they're not because Rice is Rice and they're up next, I think this is a game they sabotage in protest of their mascot.
Fair enough. Next up, you play the UTSA Roadrunners. UTSA is going to be one of the best teams in Conference USA this year, and I think they run all over Rice with Frank Harris and everything like that.
I mean, you look at their names, the Roadrunners. I think Rice is going to have them running down the road out of the stadium in Houston. I think they're going to run them off. So I think this is the game Rice takes.
Okay. And finally, your last week of the season, you go on the road to North Texas, take on the Mean Green. North Texas is another one of the best teams in the Conference USA, and I think they're just going to be too much for Rice. I think Rice finishes the season 4-8, and another kind of disappointing season for Mike Bloomgren.
North Texas has some phenomenal uniforms. Their branding's awesome. Beautiful campus, wonderful people in the city. But let me tell you something. Mom and pop stores and sharp jerseys do not win games, especially when you're playing the Rice Owls. So I think it's Rice by 7 touchdowns.
Okay. So there you go. Me and my colleague have Rice. Well, I have Rice going 4-8 realistically. Colleague has them going 12-0, making the college football playoff.
13-0.
13-0.
We win the bye week. Conference USA, absolute landslide.
So
college
14-0.
football playoffs against Alabama again, rematch. We send Nick Saban into retirement. He goes on ESPN game day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's 15-0.
National championship against the Louisiana State University Tigers. It's a close game.
Okay.
But no Ed Orgeron, no Joe Burrow, no Jamar Chase,
No Bojo.
no Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau's an Oregon player. I don't know why he'd be there.
Yeah, he's on the sidelines. He's just watching.
Especially with no Orgeron.
Yeah, he's just watching.
And Joe Burrow. Yeah. I think this is a game that's sadly very hard fought. I think everybody from both teams gets drafted. Mm-hmm. But I got to say, Rice by 1.
You heard it here, folks. My colleague has downloaded College Football Revamped and has completely rebuilt the Rice Owls and thinks they're going 16-0 in real life, which that's most likely impossible. But we will fulfill his make-wish dreams and just let it happen in make-believe land. So we'll just let it happen. Anyways, thank you all for watching this absolute crapshoot and listening to me and him just ramble about college football and the Rice Owls. So anyways, if you agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you agree with my pal,
just comment Rice is close.
Yeah, just comment Rice is close if you agree with my pal over here. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day, and go Dogs.